Hi guys, I'm Irina. I live in Egypt for many years and I noticed something about Arabic language. There are some words in Arabic that sound similar to words in other languages. However, they have very different meaning. Today, I will tell you about 12 Arabic words that have similar pronunciation to Russian words, but have absolutely different meaning. Let's start. So, word number one is halat. In Arabic language, halat means mixer or kitchen machine, right? In Russian language, there is a word also halat, but the meaning of this word is a robe. Very different. Word number two is telega. In Arabic language, it means a fridge. However, in Russian language, telega means a cart that horses pull on. See? No similarities in the meaning. Word number three, I think it's my favorite. Kofta. In Arabic language, kofta, it's a kind of cutlet that you make from the minced meat. It's very tasty. I love it, and my kids adore it. In Russian language, kofta, it's a cardigan or a sweater. So every time you feel cold, you wear kofta. Okay. Word number four, funduk. Egyptians pronounce it funduk. They don't say sound k at the end. It means hotel. In Russian language, the word funduk means hazelnut. You can eat it. So it sounds pretty funny. You can eat a hotel. Funduk. Word number five, shapka. Shapka, it's a present, golden present, that Egyptian girls get during the engagement party as a present from a bridegroom. It depends on the family, on the level of the family. It may be one ring, it may be a set of rings with chains and necklaces and bracelets with diamonds or without. It depends, but there should be at least one golden ring during the engagement party. However, in Russian language, shapka is just an ice hat. When you feel cold, we wear shapka. Word number six, kamar. In Egypt, they don't say kamar. They eat sound k and they say amar. Okay, but what I understood in the original Arabic language, it's called kamar, which means moon. You know, they always compare the beautiful girl with the moon. So they say you're beautiful as the moon, amar. In Russian language, we have the word kamar. Just change the stress. Kamar means mosquito. Nothing beautiful. Word number seven is dom. Arabic word dom means dum. It's a kind of fruit. I believe, I've never tried it, but I believe it's a kind of date that grows in Egypt. We don't have it in Russia, so actually till now I've never tried it. In Russian language, the word dom means house. Word number eight, sama. In Arabic language, sama means sky. In Russian language, sama, we change the stress. Sama we use when a girl talks about herself and she says that I will do it myself. We say ya sama, like I will do it myself. Right? Sama. Just different stress. Word number 9, flus. It's a very important word. I think it's the word that all Egyptian ladies study from the early age. Flus means money. Honestly, it was one of the first words I learned when I came to Egypt. In Russian language, it's not such a nice word. Flus, it's a kind of disease when you get in your tooth so that the cheek becomes very big. And you say, I have flus. So you have a very big cheek. What a difference! Word number 10. Malish. In Arabic language, it's something similar to the word sorry. There is another word that has meaning sorry in Arabic. So malish, it's something like, I'm sorry, but it's not my mistake. So don't complain, stop crying, it's okay, forget about it. This is how I understand it. We don't have in English exact translation to the word malish. In Russian language, if I just remove one a, we say malish. Malish means a baby. Word number 11. Arabic word haram means pyramids. So if you come to Egypt and you want to go to see the pyramids, you will go there by the street called Haram Street. Now you know it means the street of pyramids. In Russian language, we have similar word, храм. Храм means a temple or a church, basically a religious building. So I think the word haram and hram have some connection. I don't know, maybe Russian took this language from the Arabic. Word number 12, shmel. Shmel in Arabic means left. When you turn left, you say shmel. In Russian language, shmel, it's a kind of insect. It's a bumblebee. This big bee, we call it bumblebee. So it was easy for me to remember. So when you come to Egypt, and if you know Russian language, so when you take taxi, the word left you already know, shmel. You will need to know only how to say right and straight. This is maybe in the next video. So when you feel cold, you can tell Russian people that you wear kofta and shapka. Okay? I hope you liked the video. Tell me if you know any words that have similar pronunciation in Arabic and other languages, but have absolutely different meaning. Please write your comments down. I'm really waiting for them. Don't forget to subscribe. See you soon. Bye.